Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Just some admin instructions before the rally starts. Okay, so sorry, the toilets in the school compound cannot be used. Okay, so the nearest portable toilets, they are actually at my 2 o'clock, okay? You see the colorful bars over there? Okay, there are some portable toilets over there. So if you really need to use a toilet and you're willing to give out your coveted seats, okay, you can proceed there. Okay, second thing is if there is a lightning alert, okay, the rally will be suspended for your safety. Okay, sorry, I know lightning actually triggers your, okay, so sorry, okay. Okay, so if there is a lightning alert, please proceed in an orderly manner to the nearest HDB block for shelter, okay? Okay, I know y'all don't like lightning. What do y'all like, Hammer! Okay, so I'm going to speak in Mandarin first for the benefit of those who are more proficient in Mandarin. OK， 大家傍晚好，谢谢你们的来临。在群众大会开始之前，请注意以下的2点。很抱歉，学校的厕所不可以用了。OK， 所以如果你要用厕所的话呢，你要去那个很 colorful 的 bus，OK， 那边有几个移动的厕所 ，OK， 你们可以用那边的厕所。OK， 第2点就是，如果遇到雷雨的天气的话呢，群众大会将暂停。OK， 没有 ，OK， 请有秩序的前往最近的竹屋楼下避雨，以确保安全。OK， 你有雨伞啊 ？OK，but lightning a bit dangerous 啦。Okay, so welcome residents of Punggol GRC, Sengkang GRC, and Jalan Kayu SMC, and friends and supporters from all over Singapore to the 3rd Workers' Party Rally for General Elections 2025. 榜儿集选区、盛港集选区、惹兰加油单选区居民，来自全岛各地的朋友们，大家晚上好。Okay, so I'm Ong Lui Ping, right? Today I'm doing my side hustle as an MC. So as you can hear, it is really a side hustle, huh? Okay, so I wish you will give your strongest support to our speakers tonight. Okay, so stay tuned for very rousing and inspiring speeches from my fellow colleagues behind. Okay, so without further ado, let me introduce our first speaker of the night. Okay, he is Mr. Abdul Muhaimin bin Abdul Malik, candidate for Sengkang GRC. Let's welcome him.
Good evening, fellow Singaporeans, and a warm hello to all tuning in. I am Muhaimin, the Workers' Party candidate for Sengkang GRC. First and foremost, can I share a personal story? Yes or no? After 5 years of marriage, my wife and I decided we were ready to start a family. Praise be to God, we are expecting a little one soon. But why did it take us 5 years? It wasn't about the decision to have a child. It was about preparing ourselves for the challenges ahead. The rising cost of living, the pressure to plan for our child's future, work demands, and the responsibility of caring aging parents. Our story is not unique. Many younger couples today face similar challenges. For many, a pressing concern when starting a family is the cost. Right now, even preschool can cost more than your primary or secondary school fees. On paper, the fees might look manageable, but you also need to pay for milk powders, diapers, and the caregiving needs. It can be a stretch financially. Today, fee caps only apply to government-supported preschools, which serve only 65% of preschoolers in 2024. And what if these centers near you are full? You are left scrambling to find another one further away. That could mean extra cost, extra time, and extra stress. That's why the Workers' Party is proposing direct vouchers that parents can use at preschools of their choice. Families deserve more flexibility in choosing early education that fits their values and needs. Because every family and child is different. And speaking of different family circumstances, let's talk about stay-at-home moms. Currently, they don't get the same preschool subsidies as working moms. But are they really not working? They are working tirelessly to build strong families and a stronger society. They are caring for elderly parents, managing the home, and raising children full-time. This is why WP calls for these subsidies to be extended to all families. Many of these stay-at-home moms face difficult choice between work and caregiving. Some didn't really have a choice. But what happened when they step away to be full-time caregivers? Many lose out, not just in income, but on subsidies, retirement savings, and career progressions. And they continue to lose out even when they are ready to return to work. Many face real struggles. Some have been out of the workforce for years, so their skills may be outdated, but support for their return is limited. My fellow Singaporeans, much more can be done to reintegrate caregivers into workforce, such as tax relief to supportive employers, government-supported paid return-to-work programs that guarantee a permanent job at the end. Stepping away to care for loved ones should not be a step back. And it's not just about career breaks. Even taking time off to care for a sick child can feel like a penalty. Right now, both parents get just 12 days of childcare leave, combined for the whole year. But what if the child often falls sick, or for longer periods of time? Do the parents step on unpaid infant care leave and annual leave? Why should raising a child come at the cost of unpaid leave? Why should parents have to sacrifice their annual leave, which they may also need to care for their elderly parents, or even just to rest and recharge themselves? If we truly want to be a Singapore that supports families, parents should not have to choose between jobs, their children, and their well-being. We need policies that support families holistically, and that means valuing both children and the people raising them. We know that policies only matter when they work for real people, in real life. If you believe that families deserve better support, I hope you'll give us your trust. Don't worry you're voting for opposition, because your vote is secret. Rakyat Singapura yang saya hormati, Assalamualaikum. Saya faham masih ada yang bimbang tentang kerahsiaan undi. Bila anda terima kertas undi nanti, di belakang kertas itu ada nombor siri. Kenapa belakang kertas ini ada nombor siri? Boleh ke nanti pemerintah cek undian saya? Nombor siri itu adalah untuk melindungi proses pengundian dan bukan untuk mengesan undian anda. Apabila kertas undi dikira, ejen-ejen WP dan PAP akan ada untuk memastikan kiraan yang bersih dan adil. Selepas itu, kertas undi akan disimpan di Mahkamah Tinggi selama 6 bulan dan hanya boleh dikeluarkan dengan perintah mahkamah jika ada isu penipuan. Ini tidak pernah berlaku di Singapura. Selepas 6 bulan, kertas undi akan dimusnahkan secara rasmi di depan semua parti politik, termasuk Parti Pekerja. Jadi, jangan bimbang tentang kerahsiaan undi anda. Jika anda percaya WP boleh membawa kehidupan yang lebih baik untuk masa depan anda, undilah kami tanpa rasa takut. Undilah Parti Pekerja, bekerja untuk Singapura. Vote for Workers' Party and you'll never walk alone. Because we are working for Singapore. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Muhaimin, for that very moving speech. Next up, we have a former keyboard warrior turned politician, Mr. Jackson Ao Chi Ming, candidate from Punggol GRC. Please welcome him.
Good evening, residents of Punggol GRC. It is so good to see so many of you here tonight. My name is Jackson, and I'm proud to be standing here with the Workers' Party. After my first rally speech, some residents told me that they liked my fire. But honestly, I know I come across as a little angry. I understand where they are coming from, but I will not apologize, because I'm here to fight for all Singaporeans. And if I am angry, it is because I care. I care about how Singaporeans are treated, and I care about making things better for them. If you feel angry too, it is because you care, and you know we can be so much better. I'm not sorry that some people call me a stranger and say I'm not welcome here. I'm also not sorry that I didn't come from Choa Chu Kang GRC, or that I'm special friends with Lawrence Wong. This is because Alia, Alexis, Harpreet and I, we are a solid team. And we will work hard for you. I'm like many of you. I'm a young Singaporean, and I'm proud of it. I'm just trying to do my best. When I started my first job, I was an auditor for a local company. And let me tell you, I found out very quickly I didn't quite like the numbers. The real numbers are the long hours and the poor work-life balance. Many of you can relate to this, even today. Thankfully, I later found my calling in a different field, communications. So tonight, I want to tell you a story about Singapore through 4 numbers. Because behind each number is a story. A story about ordinary Singaporeans, about growing inequality, about the squeezed middle class, and the rising desire for change, which I've heard loud and clear from all of you in the past week. The first number I want to share is 2.06. $2.06 cents. That is the cost of a one-way trip from Punggol MRT to downtown MRT for a standard adult. For many of us, this is a cost we bear twice a day, 5 days a week, and sometimes even more. Over the past 5 years, public transport fares have risen over and over again. 4 consecutive years of fare hikes. And even though prices go up, reliability has not. Trains break down. They are overcrowded. You feel it immediately, the frustration and the exhaustion. Anyone who's tried changing lines at Serangoon or Bishan during peak hours knows exactly what I'm talking about. And the LRT here in Punggol, it is overcrowded, struggling under the weight of our growing population. We know this and we live this. This is why we are pushing for a national transport corporation, so we can reinvest profits back into you, the commuters. Ensure that there are cheaper fares, optimize our LRT and MRT infrastructure, and overall enhance services and transparency. The second number I want to share with you is 1055. $1,055. This is the monthly allowance for an NSF third sergeant. 沙条. The number may vary slightly depending on your rank, but the message is the same. You obviously did not serve for the money. You served because it was your duty. You gave up 2 years of your life, and every year after, you continue to serve, balancing work, your career, your family, and reservist duties. So if you see Janil and Gan Kim Yong around, please ask them to tell you about their NS experience. I'm sure they will have something to share. The government says your contribution cannot be measured in dollars and cents. They are right. Let's stop pretending that token words and the annual wayangs are enough. Let's truly recognize that NS is a sacrifice and it requires proper recognition. At the very least, let us stop calling it an allowance and start calling what it should be, a salary with CPF contributions. This is how the Workers' Party values your contribution to our national security. The third number I'm sharing with you is 500,000. $500,000, okay? This is what more than half of Singaporeans believe it costs to raise a child up to the age of 21, according to the 2024 Singlife Financial Freedom Index. So, if you're a new parent receiving your SG60 baby bonus pack this year, firstly, my congratulations to you. But ask yourself, is this really enough? Raising a child in Singapore today is not easy. Young families face rising childcare costs, limited parental leave, long BTO wait times. The Workers' Party understands this. We have proposed real, meaningful, and long-term solutions and support. We're not giving you one-off grants, and we're not giving you teddy bears and labubus. What we're calling for is enhanced parental and childcare leave, flexible working arrangements, shorter BTO wait times, and reforms in our education system, giving families the choice to skip the PSLE if it is in their child's best interest. And young singles, don't worry, we are not leaving you out. We're also pushing for you too to be able to buy your homes earlier, because you matter as well. So if you ask me, the PAP, they are the real strangers to the struggles of Singaporeans today. They don't live in HDBs the way the majority of Punggol residents do. They don't squeeze onto the LRTs, the MRTs, or the buses. They drive around in their Porsches and their Audis. And they definitely don't need to worry about whether wonton mee costs $5 or pasta costs $18. In fact, my team and I found out recently, during one of our lunches at Waterway Points, you can get pretty good pasta here for less than that. So in a nutshell, can they really understand what Singaporeans are going through? Representation requires empathy. Empathy comes from living what Singaporeans live every day. The final number I'm sharing with you is this: 61,780. I'm going to say that again. 61,780. This is not a dollar amount. It is not a statistic. This is you. It's your family and it's your future. 61,780 is the minimum number of votes we need here in Punggol GRC to give the Workers' Party the privilege and honor of serving you in Parliament. This number represents your voice, your hope, your desire for a better future. If you believe in our vision, and if you have hope for a better Singapore, then please give us your support and add to that number. If we win, we won't just be making history. We will be sending a clear message that you want to be heard, Punggol wants to be heard, and Punggol wants to change. So please remember this number, 61,780. Whatever you do, make your vote count and make your voice heard. Vote for the Workers' Party.
Okay, thanks Jackson for that really fiery speech. Okay, so as a psychologist, let me give you a professional advice. Okay, so if you are angry, you can take 3 deep breaths and then tell yourself, vote Workers' Party, working for Singapore. Okay, next up, our third speaker, Mr. Kenneth Tiong Boon Kiat, candidate for Aljunied GRC. Please welcome him.
Friends, fellow Singaporeans, my name is Kenneth Tiong. I am running to be a Member of Parliament in Aljunied GRC. Today, I want to speak about why I stand here with the Workers' Party. I found in the Workers' Party a group of Singaporeans who are driven by ideals. The people of this party are not here for titles, positions, or material benefit. They are Singaporeans like you and me, who give their precious time and sometimes even their own money, purely because of what they believe in. The possibility of a better Singapore. The belief that Singapore deserves a real choice. And to be that credible choice, to earn your trust, we hold ourselves to clear standards. Our leader, Pritam Singh, spoke about the Workers' Party being rational, respectable, responsible. Our 3 Rs, our guiding principles. But tonight, I tell you that there's a 4th R that defines us. Now, ready. We are ready. Ready to listen. Ready to serve. Ready to fight for you. That's why I'm proud to stand with this party. Our ideals and principles compel us to listen closely to your concerns and propose the solutions you need. Let me give 3 examples: work, NS, and justice. Work. What happens if you are retrenched? It's a worry we all share. As far back as 2006, the Workers' Party called for unemployment insurance, a safety net. Repeated it in manifesto after manifesto, pushed it in Parliament. It took until 2023, 17 years later, for the government to announce temporary support. Only this year, in 2025, a scheme took shape. We saw the need decades ago. We believe you deserve security today, not after years of waiting. NS, think about our sons, our brothers, our friends serving national service. Is their allowance fair? Does it meet the rising costs we all feel? My colleague Gerald Giam didn't think so. In 2023, he demanded better. Months later, allowances went up. He pushed again this year, and they went up again. Why? Because defending our nation deserves fair compensation. It's common sense, it's what's right. And what about justice? Should your access to a lawyer depend on how much money you have? He Ting-ru and Sylvia Lim said no. They called for fair access for everyone. That same day, the government acknowledged the need and moved for a public defender's office. Today it exists. Is our system perfect? No. But is it fairer because the Workers' Party was there speaking up? Yes. This is the pattern. We listen to your concerns, we research, we propose solutions, often years before they become popular or even common sense. We bring a voice to Parliament, we push, we persuade. And maybe not many people watch the Parliament live stream, just a few hundred people, but we fight for you, policy by policy, step by step. What's still on the table? The work is never done. Today, we fight for mandatory retrenchment benefits, independent unions to safeguard your rights as employees, truly affordable housing, among others. Some people try to label us PAP light, one step to the left. Let me tell you what it's really about. It's not left or right. It's about the future versus the past. Are we building the Singapore of tomorrow, facing today's challenges head on? Or are we stuck looking backwards? No matter how great yesterday was, yesterday is over. The Workers' Party has its eyes firmly on the future because you, the people of Singapore, are in our hearts. So when they call us PAP light, I say maybe they've got it backwards. Maybe the PAP is WP late. Think about it. If you want a preview of the sensible PAP policies of 2030, vote for WP in 2025. Get those policies 5 years earlier, when they actually matter for the challenges you have right now. Now, you hear the PAP responding, digging through archives, saying, oh, we mentioned that idea in 2008, or we needed time to study. Friends, they talk about study time. 17 years for unemployment support. While they studied, did your bills wait? Did your family struggles pause? Whatever label they put on that long process, the undeniable outcome for Singaporeans was delay. Friends, that cost of delay is paid by you. Ultimately, whether they admit it or not, whether the final policy is a perfect copy or slightly different, our relentless push on unemployment support, on NS pay, on getting justice for scam victims, forced them to act. It delivered progress. It made a difference in your lives. That is the outcome we fight for. The outcome for Singaporeans that matters. So why wait? Why wait for a delayed, watered-down version of a good idea? Why settle for policies playing catch-up? You deserve leaders who don't just monitor, but act. You deserve solutions that are fresh, relevant, and address your life today. The cost of living, the pressures, the dreams you have for your family. You deserve a party that is ready. Ready to represent you, ready to shape a better future starting right now. So this GE, make your vote count. Vote the Workers' Party. Vote for the party that is always ready to work for Singapore. Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth. Okay, just an appeal before the next speaker. For those seated in the middle of the field, can you please stand up? Please stand up. Those seated in the middle of the field. Yes, middle, yeah. Okay, stand up and take a step forward so that your fellow Workers' Party supporter at the back can move forward. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Thank you for showing the Singapore spirit. Okay, please be careful, stay safe. Just move forward slowly. Thank you very much. And for those behind who can't hear the speeches well, please turn on the live streaming on your handphone to hear our passions better. Okay, next up, our Kaki Nang, Mr. Louis Chua Keng Wee from the Sengkang GRC.
Good evening, voters of Sengkang GRC, Punggol GRC, and Jalan Kayu SMC. First, I wish to say thank you to every Sengkang resident who has given me your support and the WP Sengkang team your support since the last election. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your trust. And today I stand before you again because our work is not finished. We need to keep pushing for a fairer Singapore, a more livable Singapore, and to do this, we need your support to keep opposition voices and WP MPs in Parliament. Allow me to speak in Mandarin today. 各位选民朋友，大家晚上好。我是工人党盛港集选区的候选人蔡庆威。今天我要谈一谈市政理事会的事宜。5年前，盛港集选区根本不存在。5年前，工人党刚刚接手盛港，必须在疫情下建立一个全新的市政理事会，并且合并2个完全不同的市政理事会和管理团队。更糟糕的是，当时的2家管理代理公司又不肯续约，是不是很耳熟啊？好，我尽量了哦，不好意思啊。 所以我们的团队必须直接接管市政理事会。虽然我们面对一波又一波的挫折，我们始终没有想过放弃，因为我们在2020年答应了盛港居民，不管你们当时把票投给谁，只要是盛港的居民，我们一定会为你打拼。5年后，我很高兴的可以大大声声的和大家说，我们是全新加坡管理的最好的市政理事会之一。在市政理事会的管理报告，英文是 TCMR 的运营报告中，我们的市政清洁一直获得绿色评级，我们的设施维护也一直获得绿色的评级。当然，我们的电梯服务也一直获得绿色的评级。从治理的角度来看，盛港市政理事会与阿育尼后港市政理事会一样，都从2021到2023年的所有3个市政理事会财务和管理报告中都获得了持续的绿色评级。在这3年，盛港市政理事会也是全新加坡16个市政理事会中，仅有8个完全没有违反市政理事会法或市政理事会财务规则的市政理事会之一。所以当 BAB 政府恐吓你说，如果你把票投给工人党，你们将会付出代价，你们就不会有盖走廊，你们的物价就会大跌，这些都是假的。我反而还担心为什么在盛港一间3房式主屋都要54万，一间5房式主屋都要70多万，甚至从去年开始有100多万的政府主屋在盛港100多万这才吓死人，对不对？所以Jalan Kayu的选民，你们不必担心，如果我的同事刘宇阳成功当选，盛港市政理事会有信心可以把你的市政管理得好。毕竟Fernvale 本来就是盛港的一部分，连地址都叫新港 West， 对不对？同样的呢，榜儿的选民，你们也不必担心，因为我们工人党有着34年管理后港的经验，14年管理阿育尼选区，和在盛港设立了5年的市政理事会。那让我以方言简单的跟大家总结一下，好吗？其实呢是真简单的事啦。阮工人党永远会为新加坡人打拼，因为阮做的每项物件，拢是为着你啦。各位選民，你哋唔使驚，你哋都冇咩好驚。等我哋繼續為你服務。所以調招話啦，唔使買單嘛，對不？成間幫個嘅Jalan Kayu嘅雙面，你外勢放心，請到工人黨一票，感謝大家。
Thank you, Kak Kinang. Okay, so we hear that in Sengkang GRC, our town council is all green. But for Punggol and Jalan Kayu SMC, we want to turn them from green to... Yes, okay, so next up, we have Siti Alia binti Abdul Rahim Mata, candidate from Punggol GRC.
Hi, good evening everyone. My name is Alia Matar, and together with my teammates Jackson, Alexis and Harpreet, we are a solid team running for Punggol GRC. When I graduated from law school, I went into litigation. After 2 years, I decided this was not for me. So I took a leap of faith and moved into financial law, something that was completely new and unfamiliar to me. Since then, I have spent 8 years as legal counsel in the Monetary Authority of Singapore, and when I left, I continued to stay in the financial industry. While Punggol may be new to us, the ideas and aspirations of Punggol residents are very familiar. Like many of you, I am a parent. I look after my aged parents, also like many of you. In our engagements with you, Punggol residents, you voiced many concerns, including transport woes, internet connectivity, loud jets flying overhead, rising food prices, and at the same time, you shared worries about the increasing costs and stress of bringing up children in Singapore, including those with special needs. You, like me, are concerned about the mental anxiety placed on our children with the existing pressure cooker system of education. Just earlier today, I met a Punggol resident, a caregiver to her 22-year-old daughter with cerebral palsy. Her joint household income means that she is not qualified for some subsidies, and yet the cost of medical equipment for her child is much more due to her special needs. Not to mention the mental state of her as a parent with a child of special needs. Children need support, but so do caregivers, something we sometimes forget. Our senior citizens, they are anxious about rising medical costs. Many of them do not have a steady income. They are concerned about having to pay GST on parts of their medication, having their Medisave capped to a certain amount, even for chronic conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you, whose money is in our CPF accounts? Whose money is in our Medisave accounts? It is our hard-earned money, meant to pay for our medical costs in our old age. This is not asking for handouts. It is trying to take care of ourselves with our own money. Ladies and gentlemen, there was an article recently by Tan Swee Chie, former Group Chief Executive of NTUC Enterprises, and let me quote him. "We live in a troubled world. Citizens must speak up on matters that affect our collective future, especially when decisions are taken in our name. These are not acts of division. They are acts of care for our country and for the institutions we rely upon. We keep hearing the term behind closed doors, that heated debates and discussions had already taken place behind closed doors, that some people have friends in higher places where they can ask for special help, even for national programs apparently. Is this right? Can you accept this? This is our nation. We are the stakeholders. Involve us in the decisions, especially when they are taken in our name and on our behalf. This term, behind closed doors, should be retired, should it not? The Workers' Party is transparent. We are open. We say what we do, and we do what we say. Our policies are based on what Singaporeans, the stakeholders of our nation, are asking for. We are a party that accepts the diversity of Singapore because we know what unites us matters way more than what divides. So ladies and gentlemen, Punggol voters, it is time for change. Vote the Workers' Party, working for Singapore. A few words in Malay. Penduduk-penduduk Punggol, saya nak tekankan 3 perkara saja hari ini. 1, kalau kita Parti Pekerja diundi masuk rancangan peringkat kebangsaan atau national level plans seperti daerah digital Punggol, masih akan diteruskan, jangan bimbang. Rancangan peringkat kebangsaan adalah untuk semua, bukan hanya kawasan tertentu. 2, kalau kita Parti Pekerja diundi masuk, kita akan adakan platform-platform untuk berbincang dengan penduduk Punggol GRC sendiri untuk memahami apa yang perlu dibuat dan diperbaiki. Jangan takut, jangan bimbang. Parti kita ada banyak pengalaman dari tim Hougang, tim Aljunied dan tim Sengkang. 3, dengan Parti Pekerja, kita tak perlu bincang-bincang belakang tabir. Kita tak ada kawan-kawan yang berpengaruh yang kita boleh meminta bantuan khas untuk program kebangsaan. Kita akan sentiasa berbincang dengan anda. Kita akan membawa suara anda ke Parlimen. Parti Pekerja Telus, kita sentiasa terbuka. Kita akan sentiasa bekerja sama dengan anda. Berilah kami peluang untuk menjadi suara anda. Undilah Parti Pekerja, bekerja untuk Singapura. Terima kasih. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alia, for the very open speech. Okay, good evening, everyone. We are currently at maximum capacity for this rally site. Thank you so much for your support. But we are unable to admit any more people into the rally. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. Please continue to support us by watching the live streaming on your mobile phones. Okay, next up. Okay, our very own Opa, James Jerome Lim.
Good evening to our 200. Thank you. Good evening to our 280,000 bosses from Sengkang, Punggol, and Jalan Kayu SMC. The past few years have not been an easy time for Singaporeans. We watch as prices surge on things that we eat, use, and depend on. Char kway teow, kay ham, used to be $3, but it's now $4 or $5. A full tank is now $100 or more. So riding the bus or taking a taxi is more expensive. Bills from the electricity company, the tutor, the doctor are all up. Good luck finding your own place or upgrading with $1 million HDB flats. What has the PAP done to help you cope with this rising cost of living? It is now a standard playbook. They give out ever more vouchers. More SG60 vouchers, CDC vouchers, GST vouchers, Yusof vouchers. For companies, it's also more of the same. More tax breaks, more tax relief. Many Singaporeans rightly judge that such measures are short-term, address only the symptoms, and hence deeply unsatisfactory. We would rather lift ourselves up than to feel patronized and dependent on the system where we need handouts. These may be necessary in emergencies like COVID-19, but a continued dependence on them suggests a problem with the system itself. Reducing the burden of regulation and taxes is surely welcome, especially for struggling small businesses. But to keep coddling rich multinationals cheapens our country's value proposition. What is worse, the government has only added fuel to the flame of rising costs. They insisted on raising GST in 2023 when inflation was already raging and when there were easily other sources of revenue available. They've been slow to release more vehicle quotas, even in a low volume year, thereby allowing COE prices to escalate to as much as $150,000. And they're stubbornly stuck to a land pricing formula that embeds the price of land into public housing valuations, effectively passing on the potential bubble in land prices onto resale HDB flats. But the PAP seems to have no better ideas on how to address these problems other than more handouts and more vouchers. High cost of living aren't just because the world at large has experienced post-pandemic inflation. High cost of living in Singapore are as much a homemade structural problem, demanding structural solutions since they were manufactured by the PAP. Think about HDB. Conceived in good faith, it served our nation's housing needs for more than a century. But owning our homes is now a juggling act, a balance between affordable housing, enough returns for retirement, and having a roof over our heads. Like any juggling act, however, these balls will eventually come crashing down. These competing goals are fundamentally irreconcilable, and the way the government has tried to square this circle has been to give ever greater grants and subsidies to new homeowners. But this fosters a rentier mindset. People buy and flip, cashing out after the MOP. Yet speculation breeds more speculation, since sellers know that the government will make up the shortfall. The MND budget gets redder and redder. But apparently, this is prudent policy, whereas pricing land less is raiding the reserves. And high land valuations don't just affect the prices of our homes. Costly land means high rents, and high rents are killing our companies. The government says that rents are only a small part of business costs, but they do not affect food prices. But they fail to see that rent gets passed through to everything else without acknowledging that their land policy is a problem. How can the PAP solve the problem of high cost of living? Now that prices are already high, the only way we can all cope with the rising cost of living is to have our incomes rise. We will then worry less if our salaries have adjusted accordingly. But the government has been too passive in urging businesses to embrace the sorely needed adjustment. They've worked with the National Wages Council to issue guidelines for raising salaries, but only for lower wage workers. Yet the rest of us face high prices too. And for the retired, they have stubbornly refused to adjust how CPF pays interest, even as retirees' hard-earned nest eggs are eaten up. This government needs to take stronger leadership on the economy and make sure that the overdue increase in our incomes comes sooner rather than later. The decades and decades of parliamentary supermajority that the PAP has enjoyed has bred policy complacency, intellectual stagnation, and unimaginative thinking. This is no longer your father and my grandfather's PAP. The modern PAP has shown itself bereft of good ideas and necessary reforms that are able to address the complex and evolving problems of the 21st century. Now, the PAP calls for unity. The Workers' Party believes in a united Singapore. But we cannot, we must not blindly unite in voting for the PAP. If we did, we will be trapped with the same old ideas and lack of diversity needed for problems that demand permanent structural solutions. Some have suggested that the PAP is trying to conjure up the politics of fear to scare voters into choosing a safe harbor in turbulent times. But my fear is more a parliament dominated by only one way of thinking and looking at the world, which will only mean disaster for the future of our country. How can we be sure that a one-party government will take your concerns seriously if we aren't there to speak truth to power? How can we be certain that highly paid ministers are not subject to groupthink and disconnected from the things that truly matter on the ground to you and I? How do we know that there will be a future for ourselves and our children when Singaporeans are not choking under the pressure of high prices and high costs? We need fresh ideas and new perspectives for our changed world. The Workers' Party has consistently championed innovative policy proposals in Parliament. The PAP dismisses our arguments, calling them theoretical or irrelevant. But then 10 or 20 years later, they show up in government policy. Let us be your voices that the government can no longer choose to ignore. Voices that know how you feel because we talk to you. We listen and we learn. Voices that empathize with your struggles because we feel them too. Voices that don't just go with what this government wants, but what the people you want. These are the voices of the people and the Workers' Party, working for you, working for Singapore.
Next up, a candidate who is no stranger to all of you. Our very own Alexis Deng Pei.
候选人滕佩元，很高兴能够再一次的站在这里跟大家对话，分享我的心路历程。2020年，我第一次加入工人党，担任义工，做过家访、选民接见、晚宴司仪、中文翻译、 当党第一次问我有没有意愿从政时，我一开始是犹豫的。作为一位女性，放弃隐私，接受公众的检视，绝非一件简单的事。身边的朋友也劝我不要走这条路，因为一旦开始，就没有办法回头。这个决定，我思考了很久，最终让我下定决心的，是因为我发现，我在乎的，并不是得失，而是对错。对我来说，跟随本心，实践价值观，努力创造一个更美好的社会，就是一件正确的事。很多人问我，如果想为民服务，为什么不加入执政党，走一条康庄大道？为什么要选择工人党，走一条崎岖小路？今天，我想用这5年来作为义工的感想、所见所闻，回答大家。我看到的是，在这繁荣表象下，贫富差距扩大，弱势群体对梦想的无能为力。我看到的是年轻学子过早背负起对未来的焦虑，孩子们在课业压力下流泪挣扎。我看到的是执政党高枕无忧，而工人党议员在巨大压力下依然坚持信念，一家一家的帮助居民。我在乎的不是我的团队是不是常胜军，而是我加入的团队能不能确保没有一个需要帮助的人会被遗忘。这几天，我们走访了榜儿，感受到大家的热情与殷切期盼。我们听到的诉求很实际：婴幼儿托管、幼儿园、运动设施、乐龄活动空间不足，巴士路线少，网络信号弱，有盖走道不完善，这也包括学校内走道，而不仅仅是严副总理所说的，因为榜儿拥有很多的绿地。如果工人党有幸赢得选举，我们将会第一时间着手改善这些问题，复制阿育尼以及盛港的优质市政管理经验，确保榜儿居民的生活品质有增无减，让政府已经规划的新项目顺利推进，不受干扰。此外，我们也将继续在国会中为大家发声，推动切实减轻民众负担的政策，包括一、为基本生活用品取消消费税，缓解榜儿的高食品价格压力；二、推动更多的育儿假，支持有多个年幼子女的家庭；三、为支持看护者重返就业的企业提供税务减免；四、更新学校课程，帮助年轻人更好地融入未来职场。这只是我们努力推动的一部分政策，未来我们也会继续在国会为民发声，捍卫多元声音，请大家给我们一个机会，为榜儿民众服务，也为国效力。谢谢。Okay, I'll use English to speak a few words now. Good evening, Punggol residents. It's been a real pleasure meeting so many of you over the past few days. We are truly humbled by your warmth and honesty. Thank you for sharing your concerns with us. If given the chance, we promise to act on them immediately. I would also like to address some comments made by the ruling party. At the last PAP rally, Ms. Sun Xueling said, "We do not need strangers to come to Punggol." May I ask, is she referring to DPM Gan Kim Yong too? Or is he exempted because he is good friend of PM Lawrence Wong? Before last Friday, I was an ordinary citizen just like you, and I have deep respect for our country's leaders. But when I hear statements like, I will talk to my good friend, it reflects a troubling reality about our politics today. Is this the kind of leadership that we want to endorse? Is this the political culture we want to pass on to our children? Where success isn't about fairness, but about connections? In another speech, our retiring DPM Heng Swee Keat said, look at countries that have diverse parties. What do? They talk. Nothing gets done. But why are we only comparing with countries that falter? Why do we assume Singaporeans aren't smart enough to chart our own unique political path? If we use that logic, does it mean that we shouldn't be asking for salary increment just because there are other people who earn less? We deserve better, and we can do better. In GE 2020, PAP parachuted DPM Heng Swee Keat into East Coast GRC. Forcing voters into a difficult choice between more balanced politics and keeping a future PM. East Coast voters made that sacrifice. But where is East Coast plan today? Is he even our Prime Minister now? And again, they are trying to pull the same stunts in Punggol, forcing you into a corner. Is it really that wrong to want a more balanced parliament? If we allow this tactic to succeed again, make no mistake, it will be repeated at the expense of all Singaporeans. Punggol residents, whether you are here with us today or you are in front of your screen, if you are watching this, you've asked for a credible opposition, and we have answered. We have fielded a very good team here, a solid team. So, I urge all of you, say no to using key government figures as political pawns. Say no to being forced into difficult choices when all we want is progress. Say no to falling for the same trick twice because we deserve better. Harpreet, Jackson, Alia, and I have stepped up for you. Punggol residents, it's now your turn to step up for all Singaporeans. Say no to them and vote Workers' Party, working for Singapore. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the support. Do we look like strangers to you? Okay, next up, our very own proud Silver Passion card holder, Miss Sylvia Lim Kui Lian.
Good evening, fellow Singaporeans. As you know, I've been in politics for some time, but this is the first time I'm speaking at a rally in Punggol. And the air smells good. Tonight, I would like to speak to you about the women candidates that the Workers' Party is fielding at this election. Being an opposition candidate in Singapore is a high-stakes, high-risk activity. Politics can be a nasty business. And for women in opposition, it can be tricky. If you're elected into parliament, we are expected to confront government ministers robustly, but perhaps not too aggressively. However, over the years in parliament, I have been called many names and been fiercely attacked by some ministers. But I fought back with everything I had. And luckily for me, my husband found these qualities attractive. I hope he's come back from his dinner. My friends, we need women political leaders and women representatives in parliament, especially in the opposition. This is necessary to ensure that our policies for Singapore are more balanced and sustainable. There are many studies that show that countries where people are the happiest also tend to have relatively more women in political leadership positions. Citizens of these countries feel confident and secure because the countries tend to prioritize social outcomes such as work-life balance, health, and supporting those in need. After the general election in 2011, I spoke at the opening of Parliament. I called for the government to measure whether its policies have resulted in happiness, well-being, and contentment in Singaporeans. I recall being mocked for it by the PAP ministers and backbenchers. But today, this is becoming more and more accepted as international best practice. So what is the Workers' Party doing about empowering more women in politics? My friends, it was 22 years ago that I was elected as the chair of the Workers' Party. 22 years ago. And I have to say, I have outlasted 4 male chairmen of the PAP, and I've yet to see a female chair on their side. Next, we try our best to find capable female candidates to stand for election. This is not easy for the opposition. This year, I'm pleased to report that WP is fielding 6 women. Tonight, I would like to share with you why I think they are women of substance who will speak up for you fearlessly and defend your interests in Parliament. So first, let me start with the two ladies fielded in Punggol. First, Alia Mata. Alia identifies herself first as a mother of 3 teenagers. You can be assured that she will be fully committed to pushing for policies that families care about, such as in the areas of housing costs and education. And did you know that she's a lawyer by profession who has worked in the Monetary Authority of Singapore for 8 years? She is now an in-house legal counsel in a multinational corporation, and she will be able to scrutinize government bills effectively. The second lady for Punggol is Alexis Dang. She has years of experience in banking before transiting to the technology sector, where she works in advertising technology, promoting partnerships with media owners to drive revenue growth for clients. She's effectively bilingual, as you saw, in English and Chinese, and spent her childhood abroad due to family circumstances. As a young Singaporean, she will be able to share the concerns of many Punggol residents and push for change in areas affecting young families and singles. For Tampines GRC, we are fielding Eileen Chong Pei Shan. She was a diplomat with the Singapore Ministry of Foreign Affairs for 7 years and has a good understanding of regional and international affairs. She's now working in the philanthropic sector, seeking to bring about positive outcomes in early childhood development, education, and youth mental well-being. If she's elected, she will be able to handle both domestic and foreign issues. And next, for East Coast GRC, we have Paris V. Paramaswari, our Navy woman. She rose from the ranks in the Navy, worked in insurance before joining the US Navy in Singapore as a security administrator. Besides being a wife and parent, she knows what it is like to obtain a degree through part-time studies, just as many of you are doing. With a strong spirit of volunteerism, she has worked with people who have taken life's hard knocks, such as crime victims and ex-offenders. Paris will contribute her rich experiences to Parliament if she's elected. As for Ms. He Ting Ru, who was MP for Sengkang for the last 5 years, do I need to say more? She has proven herself more than capable of handling her parliamentary duties and being chairman of the Sengkang Town Council, all while being the mother of 3 children under the age of 10. And for Aljunied GRC, you still have me. So my friends, looking at our slate of female candidates this GE, all I can say is, Mama Bear here is proud. So how will we serve your interests as opposition MPs in Parliament? We want Singapore to succeed. We want our parents to age well, our children to be safe and happy. We want a vibrant environment where everyone can reach their full potential. We want strong communities and a resilient spirit. The difference between opposition MPs and PAP MPs is that we can reject government policies that we do not think are in the interest of Singaporeans. My friends, let me end on a broader and more serious note. In my 20 plus years with WP, I can confidently say that this batch of our candidates, both men and women, is the most promising batch that WP has fielded. And therefore, there is a key message for you, our dear voters in Aljunied, Hougang, Sengkang, Punggol, Jalan Kayu, East Coast, Tampines and Tampines Changkat. If these candidates do not get elected this time, there may be no next time. The electoral boundaries may change. So there is no time to waste on this. Let us not dither about whether to cast your vote for WP this time or not. If you do not do it this time, you may not have a chance the next time. So let May the 3rd, 2025 be your moment. Vote for a stronger Singapore. Vote for the Workers' Party, working for Singapore.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are you happy with the PAP? Are you happy with the Workers' Party? Okay, good news, guys. Okay, the crowd situation has improved. Can I seek your help to stand up and move forward so that we can admit more people now? Please, we seek your cooperation. Please stand up, move forward so that more people can feel our passion. Okay, please move forward slowly. Please be safe. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for showing the Singaporean spirit. Please move forward, but please be safe. Okay. Next up, our candidate for Jalan Kayu single member constituency, our one and only Andre Low Yang.
Thank you. I may be short in stature, but I hope I can rise above. All right. Good evening, my friends, my neighbors. 各位朋友，各位邻居，晚上好。Man, it feels good to be here among my fellow Pongolers. I live not too far from here, but I didn't grow up here. So I don't know if you think I qualify to be a son of Punggol or not. But on a more serious note, last week I stood before you as a stranger. Tonight I hope you see me as someone who understands your concerns, shares your hopes, and is ready to fight for our community. I spent many hours walking the ground for the past 2 years. 我看到了你们的困难，也感受到了你们的期望。And what I've heard is clear. 全部东西太贵了。Everything is so expensive now. This sentiment echoes in almost every conversation. At the kopitiam, at the hawker center, from retirees to working adults to young families alike, we all feel the same way. Let's be frank. Singapore is becoming unaffordable for everyday, ordinary people. 现在的新加坡，物价越来越高，日子越来越难过，新加坡人的生活负担越来越重。买菜、电费、水费、大巴士、大地铁、看医生，这些基本的生活开销都在上涨。But you know what frustrates me the most? It's when I hear the ministries tell us that, oh, actually, inflation rate is falling. That's what they said in February this year, but the reality is different. You and me on the ground, when we go to the supermarket, do we see our prices falling? I didn't think so. And a retiree, they cut back on the simple joys that they used to take for granted. 我们辛苦了一辈子的长辈，退休后，他们是否可以享受一个舒服的生活呢？ This isn't just about statistics. This is about dignity. It's about whether Singaporeans are able to afford a decent standard of living in our own land. The Workers' Party has consistently opposed the GST hike. You know, we're not against taxes, but because GST hits lower and middle income households the hardest. That 2% increase might seem trivial to those in ivory towers, but for many it's the difference between comfort and anxiety. We propose exempting essential items from GST. Basic food items, utilities, medicines, textbooks and school supplies. We want tiered pricing for utilities. Lower consumption means lower rates. This benefits smaller households, our seniors and pioneers, and those who conserve resources and look after our green earth. Why should ordinary families have to bear the same rates as those who live in GCBs and black and whites, with wine cellars, lifts at home, and multiple aircons running 24/7? 这公平吗？这合理吗？ Housing remains the biggest expense for most Singaporeans. The financial burden is there for the youngest, and if they don't have a stable roof over their heads, how can they even begin of thinking of starting a family? Wait times of 4 to 5 years for BTO flats. When did this become the norm? When did this become acceptable? In 1989, the wait time was just 2 to 3 years. The government has finally admitted there is a problem. But what is their solution? Recalibrating. That's a new one for you. To have more flats with wait times under 3 years. Under 3 years, that is their optimistic goal. Shouldn't that be the ceiling, the maximum, not a goal to aspire to? The Workers' Party will continue to push the government to bring BTO wait times back to what they were before. Not eventually, not gradually, but now. We also believe that 28-year-old singles should be allowed to apply for BTO flats. Not just those aged 35 and above. It's not just for singles, you know. Single mothers are considered singles too. They have a family. Why shouldn't they be able to provide a roof for their children? Our times have changed. Policies should change too. Let me tell you about a former schoolmate of mine. She's 34 years old this year, just like me. She earns a good salary. She's single. She wants independence. But if she wants a BTO, by the time she has a roof over her head, she'll be pushing 40. Is this the Singapore we want? Where hardworking adults don't have the dignity of their own space until they are 40 years old? 这是我们要的新加坡吗? These are not just isolated policy proposals. They represent a fundamentally different vision of Singapore. A fresh perspective, new ideas. The PAP believes in trickle-down prosperity. Keep the economy growing and everyone eventually benefits. But that's not happening anymore, is it? Our GDP grows, but many Singaporeans feel like they've been left behind. We, the Workers' Party, we believe in an economy that works for everyone, where prosperity is measured not just by GDP, but by whether ordinary people can afford to live well. And this is why the Workers' Party is proposing a national minimum wage. $1,600. A simple number, a universal baseline that says, if you work full-time, you deserve a living wage. But I stand before you tonight with not just words, but with a commitment to work. If elected, I will push relentlessly for these policies in Parliament. I will be your voice when decisions affecting your livelihoods and futures are made. I have no doubt my opponent is a good man. I have nothing against him personally, but what he represents is a party that has allowed these issues to fester. A party that raised GST twice during a cost of living crisis. A party that monitors while housing prices spiral beyond our reach. My friends, on the 3rd of May, you have a choice. You can vote for more of the same, or you can vote for representatives who will fight for a more affordable Singapore. For a Singapore that truly supports families, for a Singapore that truly cares about its people. 我们会为你们争取更公平的政策，让每个家庭过更舒服的生活。我是刘宇阳，我是惹兰加油的候选人。I'm Andre Lau, your Workers' Party candidate for Jalan Kayu SMC. Now, I want to end with this call to action. Over the past week, a string of PAP prime ministers, past and present, have lined up to ask Singaporeans for a strong mandate. I say, we send them a strong message. Vote for change, vote for hope, vote for the Workers' Party. Thank you and good night 谢谢大家，晚安。
Okay, my fellow Singaporeans, let me ask you this. How do you get the PAP to press the leave button to take the leave down from their ivory towers? You vote for the? You vote for the? You vote for the? Thank you. Next up, our very own harpoon to the heart of PAP, Harpreet Singh.
Thank you. Dajiahao. 好不好？吃饱了吗？很好。今日我係打淡薄條蕉嘅。Ya sila vote wakai Punggol GRC team and Wanang Ya chikai GE. Chiong lai kai ngau ni. Takang Wanang ngồi sai ta tiêu chiu eh. Kam sia le kai support. I would like to spend a short while addressing our Malay friends from Punggol GRC. Apa khabar semua? Bila saya masuk rally site ini tadi, saya lihat ada ramai orang Melayu di sini. Abang-abang, kakak-kakak, adik-adik, mana semua? Dengan lagi semangat, mana semua? Nama saya Harpreet Singh. Saya tahu, saya dengar, ada orang yang cakap, yang peguam senior Singh ini, kita tahu dia pandai cakap bahasa Inggeris. Dan kita pun ada dengar, dia boleh cakap bahasa Teochew. Tapi, orang tanya, yang peguam Singh ini, dia boleh cakap bahasa Melayu ke? Peguam Singh ini, dia boleh faham isu-isu yang penting untuk kaum Melayu di Singapura ke? Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, saya fikir, you just got your answer. Isu-isu seperti rising cost of living, education, keadilan, itulah isu-isu yang saya dan Parti Pekerja nak lawan. So that anak-anak kita semua dapat hidup yang lebih kualiti dan gembira daripada sekarang. Kita perlukan support atau sokongan anda dalam GE yang akan datang ini. Mudah-mudahan kita dapat shape satu Singapura yang lebih hebat daripada sekarang. Jadi, undilah Parti Pekerja. Undilah Parti Pekerja. Vote for the Workers' Party. Terima kasih. My fellow Singaporeans, I want to move on to my speech in English. And I want to address right up 3 big questions that residents of Punggol GRC have asked our team in our walkabouts over the last few days. The first big question: what will you do for us if we vote for you? Now, on Saturday, the PAP team acknowledged that there is still a lot to do to improve Punggol. They have plans, but I have news. We have plans too. First up, let's get this point out of the way. It is important to understand that the national level plans, such as the Punggol Digital District, those are going to continue regardless who is voted in. Those are national plans. For example, if voters in East Coast GRC vote our team there in, the construction of Terminal 5 Changi Airport is not going to stop. Anyway, that was never part of the East Coast plan. Second, the difference will lie in the way your constituency and Punggol GRC is run. Let me explain that. We, if we are elected, will take over the town council and we will run it effectively and as best as possible. You can ask your friends and family in Sengkang. Has the condition of Sengkang gone down after the Workers' Party took over? Absolutely not. What will be the approach of our team in the way we run Punggol GRC if elected? 2 words. We listen. Because Punggol GRC residents, you know best. You live in this area. You walk around the streets here day in, day out. You know where the gaps are. You know where the seepages are. You know where the covered walkways stop. You know where your children get drenched in the rain. You know exactly what needs to be improved in Punggol. We are not going to act like bureaucrats, pushing paper, thinking we know better than you. So, rest assured, our team will conduct town halls to get your input. We will use other platforms and forums to get your input, including those online. Rest assured, you will drive the agenda for what needs to be done in Punggol, and we will be your servants. Yes, we will have our parliamentary duties if we are elected. There will be national issues to speak about, both concerns of residents in Punggol and our fellow Singaporeans. But these municipal issues on the ground, they affect all our daily lives. And our team will give them equal attention. We will do that. Now let me make this other point. The PAP team on the other side has 3 office holders. They have busy jobs downtown, but we will be here for you, listening and acting. And let me say this of myself. I have publicly said this, and I repeat this commitment to you, voters of Punggol GRC. If elected, I will give practically all of my time to you. And that's because I will be paring down my legal work and committing more and more time to you and fellow Singaporeans to talk about the things that are important for our country. I have that privilege, and I intend to use that privilege for all of you and for our fellow Singaporeans. So you will have certainly my undivided attention. Now, the beauty of it is this, Punggol GRC voters, if you vote our team in, Singaporeans save not one, not two, but 3 ministerial salaries. And there is something else that is beautiful. Vote us in, you will get the caliber of our team without having to pay 1 cent in ministerial salaries. And if we are voted in, I would like to say this to DPM Gun's good friend, the Prime Minister and Finance Minister. It is this, that if Punggol GRC voters vote in our team, Punggol would have saved Singapore one minister's, not just one minister's salary, but 3 ministers' salary. $1 million times 3 times 5 years, that's $15 million. Now, so you vote in our team, Singapore saves $15 million. Please, Mr. Finance Minister, Mr. Prime Minister, return some of that to Punggol. Because that $15 million was not raised but through GST or other taxes. It is brought to Singapore by the voters of Punggol GRC. And the only right and fair thing to do is to use some part of that to build covered walkways and everything else that Punggol residents tell us is a priority to be done. So DPM Gun, really you don't have to talk to your good friend. We have a solution here. Now next, ask yourself this. If the PAP is so confident that they have won the trust of Punggol residents and delivered, why did they have to parachute in DPM Gun at the very last minute? No, wait, no booing, please. It's a serious question. You remember, I have said publicly in my interview to the Straits Times that I do not want to be parachuted in anywhere safe. Right? Now, I have searched all the news reports, and I have not found anything, any report where DPM Gun has said, I am sick and tired of this safe Chua Chu Kang GRC, and I want to be parachuted in somewhere unsafe. So why did they parachute DPM Gun into Punggol at the last minute? Why are they so insecure? I will tell you why. They know they have not given Punggol GRC residents their all. We, our team, will give you our all. Also, Mr. Gan Kim Yong has said that he will speak with his good friend, PM and Finance Minister Lawrence Wong, on funding for more walkways. Now, let me understand this. What was Senior Minister Teo Chee Hean doing 20 years when he was helming Punggol, Pasir Ris Punggol GRC? Was he not good friends with the Prime Minister? Did he not ask the Prime Minister for more support for necessary infrastructure upgrading in Punggol? Now, besides residents, let me make this other point. These are public funds. It does not matter whether we are or not good friends with the Prime Minister. It does not matter whether he accepts our offer to play the guitar and the saxophone together. If the infrastructure is good for residents, we too can ask for it, and that money must be provided because it is your money. Let me next come to the second big point that Punggol residents have asked us to address. Isn't there a risk, they say, that we might lose DPM Gun if we vote for the Workers' Party? Now, like I said, no booing any individual. That's not who we are, right? Let's deal with the issues. Let me start up by saying this. I like DPM Gun. We have met on the ground several times during this campaign, and he's a very pleasant person. But the question to ask is, who put DPM at risk in Punggol GRC? Meanwhile, Mr. Victor Lai is coasting in Ang Mo Kio. Let me tell you, there is really no worry about DPM leaving because he is 65 years old and has candidly admitted initially he was not keen to accept the DPM role. So we can thank DPM Gun for his service, but he reflects the past, not the future. Second, DPM Gun can still continue to contribute to Singapore even if he's not a political office holder. Remember Mr. Ng Chee Meng? You know, the government can make two roles available for Mr. Ng Chee Meng and DPM Gun after this election, and they can keep each other company. Third, this election is not about whether you have senior office holders in this GRC. It's about the future direction of this country. The PAP has lost their bearings, and let me explain why. Just a few days ago, Mr. Lawrence Wong said, or warned against voting more opposition MPs because he said that will mean an additional wealth tax to those living in private estates and landed property. You know, I cannot imagine a statement that is more out of touch with what is happening on the ground and the anxiety of Singaporeans. Singapore's inequality has skyrocketed, and the Prime Minister is effectively saying to everyone, vote for the PAP so the rich in private estates and landed property do not have to worry about paying more from proposals on increasing the wealth tax. When the Prime Minister or the PAP warns about more taxes for landed property owners, you know who they're worried about. It is not you. That is what I mean when I say the direction is completely wrong. Now, the responsible who are rich or the responsible rich in Singapore know that inequality is a threat and we need to address it. The Workers' Party will address it. We will speak up boldly for ordinary Singaporeans. Now, let me next say this. What is critical for us on the other side is fair politics and accountability. A lot has been said about the Allianz deal. Mr. Ng Chee Meng was head of NTUC at the time, and he saw no problem with it. Make no mistake, he dropped the ball. We now know that DPM Gunn also had a role in the transaction because he was chairman of MAS, the regulator ultimately deciding whether to approve this transaction or not. Mr. Tan Swee Chee has now written an open letter to all residents of Punggol GRC asking serious questions of DPM Gunn. So let me say this to DPM Gunn, and I say this respectfully. DPM Gunn, will you answer Mr. Tan Swee Chee's questions? Because they are important questions being asked on behalf of all Singaporeans. And DPM Gunn, if you will not answer, please tell us why you will not answer. Because this is about accountability, and real leadership never fears scrutiny. It welcomes it. So let me very quickly wrap up my third point. Will there be instability if you vote the opposition? The answer is no. Make no mistake, in this election, the PAP will be returned to power. Mr. Lawrence Wong will be Prime Minister. He will be supported by the civil service, and President Tharman is there as the final check. And you will have a strong, loyal opposition, one loyal to Singaporeans. That, my friends, that does not weaken Singapore. That makes Singapore stronger. True stability comes from confidence, not from controlling 90% of Parliament. Now, your vote is going to be an important signal to the government. They will be looking at two things. What is the PAP's vote in this election? Will it go below 60%? And if so, how much? 58, 57, 56? And they will be looking at how many more GRCs and SMCs does the Workers' Party and other opposition MPs secure. That is your strongest message to the government about what they need to do. Use that power. In conclusion, in closing, remember, when you get into the voting booth, Punggol GRC residents, you're not voting just for Punggol. You are voting for the future direction of Singapore. And the hopes of thousands and thousands and thousands of Singaporeans are in your hands. And you'll be voting not just for present generations, but generations unborn who will thank you if you open up Singapore to the Workers' Party with a stronger presence in Parliament. It's a huge, huge privilege you have. You can shape history. You can bend it in a more positive direction. Don't miss this opportunity. The time for change is now. Bless you all. Vote Workers' Party.
Okay, thank you, Haprit. Okay, next up, our SecGen and a leader for all Singaporeans, Mr. Pritam Singh.
Good evening, voters of Punggol and all Singaporeans. Have you been affected by the super fast rising cost of living. My colleagues and I did what we could in Parliament to stop the PAP from raising the GST when inflation was raging. After the first increase from 7% to 8%, we said to the PAP, defer the increase you had planned before COVID and before the Russia-Ukraine war. The PAP says that the whole world was facing inflation. Yes, it's true that inflation worsened as we exited COVID and galloped further ahead with the Russia-Ukraine war. But which ruling party anywhere in the world increased goods and services taxes when the winds of inflation were raging the strongest? Which government turbocharged inflation with a consumption tax hike? Nobody did except the PAP. The PAP says there will be increases in healthcare, expenditure and other costs, and revenue is needed. Yes, both a growing population and an aging population mean higher government spending. But let me ask you, could the GST increase have been postponed? Of course it could have been postponed. After COVID, there was a political window to defer raising GST and give Singaporeans some breathing space. But when the Workers' Party questioned the PAP in Parliament during the budget debate this year, the Prime Minister responded to my speech asking, how did the PAP turbocharge inflation? Doesn't he know? The Monetary Authority of Singapore, which is under the Prime Minister's office, told Parliament in 2024 that a GST hike could increase inflation by up to 40%. Isn't that turbocharging? Singaporeans have had to tighten our belts due to the worst inflation we have seen in decades. Everything is more expensive. Even these elections are more expensive. In 2020, each candidate could spend $4 per voter. Now, the elections department has increased this to $5 per voter. 25% more. Not 2% more, huh? Food prices in hawker centers have increased by just as much, if not more. Many Singaporeans rely on CPF retirement payouts because they have stopped working. These payouts do not increase with inflation, and so our seniors are hard hit. The real tragedy is the PAP had enough fiscal room to avoid making things worse for Singaporeans. For this past parliamentary term, we know that the government had a surplus of more than $14 billion. With such a surplus, will the PAP now have the courage to admit that the decision to raise the GST in 2023 and 2024 was poorly timed? There is still time for the PAP to admit to this and apologize. Polling day is on Saturday. Still got time. I said in Parliament that only the PAP can answer to Singaporeans why it raised the GST when it did. We are still waiting for a sensible answer. Because all the surpluses for this term, as per our constitution, have been locked up in the reserves and cannot be used for current spending. After the PM questioned where the turbocharging on inflation was, one of his ministers said, we can debate about the best time to have a GST hike. But my fellow Singaporeans, we do not need to debate this. A political party which claims it has the back of Singaporeans should not worsen cost of living pain by increasing GST when inflation is already raging. No government in the world will do this if it has got the back of its citizens. And to rub salt into the wound, one PAP MP in Parliament, in supporting the PAP GST hike, said that while, and I quote, "we do not like any pain at all, a little pain is necessary because it is what makes us alert, it is what keeps us alive." Singaporeans are asking, why did the PAP have to inflict more pain on us? We are already in pain because of global inflation. Why must you make things worse? But even as we wait long for a satisfactory answer, we must ask a fundamental question. All of us must ask a fundamental question. How does the PAP get away with such decisions, such as increasing GST at such a bad time? The answer is simple. The political pressure that it faces from elected Workers' Party MPs is not enough for now. So you might reasonably ask, if Workers' Party MPs were not able to stop the GST increases, why elect us? Let me give you two reasons. One reason is this: the PAP cares deeply about its percentage of votes and the number of seats it wins. Vote share and seats are how PAP politicians judge each other. These are the PAP's KPIs. You as the voter can tell the PAP what you want by voting for the Workers' Party. When the PAP loses votes and seats to the Workers' Party, it has to take corrective action. It will think twice or even 3 times before further raising the GST or implementing other policies that people object to. Or at the very least, the PAP will consider the timing of their policies much more carefully. That would be an excellent outcome for Singapore. The second reason to vote the Workers' Party is this: when there are Workers' Party MPs in Parliament, we ask the questions that Singaporeans want to ask. The PAP has no choice but to try to justify its decisions and actions in Parliament. And when we offer alternative policies, we put such options into public discussion, and the PAP must respond. The Workers' Party is not naive, nor are we populist. We are a party that does its homework. We know that Singapore will have rising expenditures in healthcare and increased HDB subsidies to finance HDB's deficit. But who should determine how future spending should be funded? Not the PAP on its own. It should be Singaporeans. If you give us your vote, the Workers' Party will debate with the PAP on this and represent you faithfully. Without the Workers' Party working for Singapore in Parliament, the PAP will have a free rein to do whatever it wants. And when you give feedback that you are in pain, what will a PAP MP whose party has a super majority in Parliament tell you? He will tell you, pain is good. It makes you feel alive. From 2020 to 2024, about $115 billion from NIRC contributions were added to our reserves. This $115 billion is the investment return from our reserves, and it includes things such as dividends from our assets. Up to 50% can be used for the yearly budget of the NIRC, but the other 50% goes back into the reserves. Following the rules in the Constitution, not a cent of this investment return that goes back into the reserves can be spent to help Singaporeans today. For comparison, about $43 billion was spent to fight COVID. The PAP said this represented 20 years worth of past budget surpluses. 20 years. But the $115 billion collected through NIRC receipts from 2020 to 2024, which went into the reserves, is close to 3 times the amount of money spent to fight COVID, which the PAP called the crisis of a generation. And the $115 billion was accumulated in just 5 years. With so much accumulated, could the PAP have postponed or even cancelled the GST increase? Yes, it could have. On the use of the reserves to fight COVID, the Workers' Party, specifically the Sengkang GRC MP, Mr. Louis Chua, asked the PAP a direct question in Parliament. And it was this. After the largest withdrawal of our reserves since independence to fight COVID, he asked, were our total reserves higher or lower than before COVID? The PAP couldn't even give a straight answer. Instead, the PAP said the reserves continue to grow. That was not the question. To the PAP, just answer the question. Now let's be clear. Saving for the future is certainly a good thing. It is prudent. But in Singapore, with more than 80% of land in government hands, Singaporeans should never be shy to ponder and ask, how much is enough for the reserves? Under what circumstances should or can we use it to look after our people? We live in a country where CPF retirement payouts are not inflation indexed, and where parents wonder if their children will be able to afford HDB flats, much less private property. We must continue to question, in good faith, whether we are overburdening the current generations, even as we look to secure Singapore for future generations. My fellow Singaporeans, there is nothing wrong with asking such questions. But I have not heard any PAP MP ask the tough questions. Nor have I heard many of them ask tough questions that directly question PAP government policy. As for DPM Gan Kim Yong, the leader of the PAP Punggol GRC team, should Punggol voters choose him and his team? Let me share a fact about Mr. Gan. In the PAP's party elections in November 2024, just last year, he was not elected into the PAP Central Executive Committee. This is very strange for a Deputy Prime Minister. Could it be that he was ready to retire and did not plan to run in these elections? If so, can he be so critical to the PM's plans? You mean the PM has no one else in his cabinet that can negotiate with the United States on tariffs? If this is true, to quote Senior Minister Lee Hsien Loong, "Si liao la." Remember what happened to DPM Heng when he abandoned Tampines GRC at the last minute to contest East Coast GRC in GE 2020. He was supposed to be our next Prime Minister, all lined up, ready to take off. But then the PAP tells us, sorry, runway too short. Beside point. DPM Heng has now retired from politics, but I am sure he will continue to contribute to Singapore. Voters of Punggol, Mr. Gan Kim Yong is older than the now retired DPM Heng. If elected, in my view, he's going to be a one-term MP. DPM Gan says he and the PM are friends. I am sorry, Punggol, but I cannot say that the Prime Minister and I are friends. But do I need to be his friend for taxpayer funding to be allocated to Punggol? No! As a Singaporean, I expect fair allocation of taxpayer resources to all our people. And the civil service will allocate funds and projects fairly. Here are just a few reasons why I say so. In my ward of Yusof in Aljunied GRC, despite being in Workers' Party's hands for the last 14 years, a polyclinic will open next year. The Eastern General Hospital is also under construction in the Yusof ward of Aljunied GRC. There are 2 MRT stations in my ward, both of which were built after 2011. The PAP has learned through the years that putting opposition wards last for upgrading and last for national projects creates a backlash against them in all constituencies in Singapore. So I have every confidence Punggol will be well served. And if not, I invite the PAP Punggol team to list for the people of Punggol which projects and which initiatives you will cancel if you lose Punggol GRC. Say so now, so we can see how much you really care for the residents of Punggol. What about in Parliament? Which candidates will make a greater difference for you? 3 of the PAP Punggol candidates are political office holders, as the leader of the WP Punggol team, Mr. Harpreet Singh, has shared. 3 of them being political office holders, do you think they can question the government? They are the government. Who will ask the hard questions in Parliament if there are concerns from Punggol residents? Only the WP Punggol candidates. Now, in my party political broadcast that was televised last week, I shared that in March 2023, despite their super majority, the PAP almost could not pass an amendment to our constitution in Parliament. Lucky for them, there were Workers' Party MPs around. In our parliamentary democracy, do you know whose job it is to ensure that there are enough PAP MPs around to vote on laws proposed by the PAP government? One man has this responsibility in Parliament. It is the government whip. Do you know who that person was in March 2023? It was the PAP Punggol team's very own Janil Puthucheary. As all NS men know, you must always check strength. You must make sure no soldier is left behind. This is drummed into SAF commanders when they are NSFs. But in March 2023, Janil Puthucheary did not ensure there were enough PAP MPs around to vote for a PAP government's constitutional amendment. But lucky for him, the Workers' Party MPs were present and ready to work for Singapore. Residents of Punggol, only the opposition can challenge and push the PAP to listen harder. and to explain and defend its position. And if it is clear that there is far stronger public support for the Workers' Party's position, the PAP will have to change course. We are here to make the PAP more sensitive to your needs and your concerns. A PAP MP will simply defend the PAP at all costs. In the previous term of government, one PAP MP, in order to promote skills upgrading, proposed that university degrees should expire after 5 years. How do the PAP MPs come up with such proposals? I think their super majority, the overconfidence created by having more than 90% of the seats in parliament, is the reason why. Let's just unpack this expiring degrees proposal. You mean parents are supposed to spend a bomb on their children's university education only for the degree to expire? And this is after negotiating one of the most stressful education systems in the world. Why should our degrees expire? So that the PAP can push skills upgrading through crazy ideas that don't make sense. My fellow Singaporeans, lionesses and lions of Punggol, general elections come around only once every 5 years. It is really tough for the opposition to assemble a slate as strong as the one you have before you in Harpreet Singh, Alexis Tang Pei Yen, Jackson Au, and Alia Mata. Punggol team, please stand up and let our voters see you. A vote for the PAP in Punggol will not result in a more balanced political system for Singapore. The PAP does not need your vote to form the government, but your vote is really precious for the Workers' Party. We ask you to vote in Singapore's interest and help Singapore achieve a more balanced parliament where your voice is heard. Punggol GRC, your role in these elections is very significant. You see how the PAP government shifts electoral boundaries every 5 years. About 1 month before the elections, the PAP government announced that MacPherson SMC, where they secured a healthy majority in the past elections, suddenly became part of Marine Parade GRC. Is this acceptable? But the terrain in Punggol is different. How much can the PAP government shift electoral boundaries here? Not as much as in Marine Parade Braddell Heights GRC. The PAP government's electoral boundary review committee cannot merge Punggol GRC into Johor. By the next elections, Marine Parade Braddell Heights can easily see its boundaries change again in the future. It can become Braddell Heights, Potong Pasir GRC, or Mountbatten SMC can be brought into Marine Parade Braddell Heights GRC. Who knows? These changes may harm the Workers' Party's chances of building a more balanced political system. So Punggol, you can send a strong message to the PAP. You can change some electoral boundaries every year, but don't mess with Punggol. Don't mess with Singaporeans. My dear voters of Punggol, if you vote the Workers' Party, you will be doing an incredible service to the nation. Service based on justice and equality. You will show the PAP the limits and futility of redrawing boundaries and announcing them just 1 or 2 months before general elections. This will hit the PAP government hard, right between the eyes. But if you vote for the Workers' Party, it will also be in line with PM Lawrence Wong's Forward Singapore vision of a new social compact with Singaporeans. One where all of us matter equally. Punggol, your mission, should you choose to accept it, will benefit not just you, but all Singaporeans who want a fair and accountable electoral boundary review process, so that we remain on track to be a society based on justice and equality. Punggol GRC, elect the Workers' Party candidates. This is not mission impossible, it is mission possible. You can do it! Vote for the Workers' Party, working for Singapore. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor and great pleasure to introduce the final speaker of this rally. She is the leader of the Sengkang GRC team, and her name is Herting Roe.
Residents of Punggol GRC, residents of Punggol GRC, Jalan Kayu SMC, and Sengkang GRC. Good evening. 在2020年当选的时候，我曾经向大家承诺过，无论你们当时票投给谁，只要是盛港的居民，我们就会为你奋斗。今天，与林志威、蔡清威和加入我们团队的穆海明，再次希望赢得大家的信赖，让我们继续为盛港在国会和盛港打拼。我们希望可以在前5年的基础上，继续巩固得来不易的成就，为盛港接下来5年的发展继续努力。我们要争取连任，面前的挑战十分严峻，不过有大家的支持，我们会无畏无惧奋斗下去，绝对不会辜负各位的寄托和期望。5月3号，各位面对投票箱，请大家把手中神圣的那一票投给工人党，让我们跟大家一起向前进。Today, I want to talk about my vision for Singapore. In this changed world, I have a vision for Singapore, a healthier Singapore. A healthier Singapore where our people don't just struggle to keep up, but a Singapore where our people flourish. To build a healthier Singapore, we need a healthier political system, a healthier Singapore where we don't just react to illness, but have space for health to flourish, clean air, healthy food, green spaces, fair wages, and strong communities. A healthier Singapore is also one where our town council can succeed, whether it is opposition run or PAP controlled. Against the odds, we've shown in Sengkang, this can be done. When we were elected MPs after GE 2020, the WP team were faced with a task of taking over a town council from 2 town councils, from 2 different managing agents. We had to harmonize in the midst of disruptions caused by COVID. When both managing agents refused to extend their contracts beyond 2023, we took the difficult decision to directly run SKTC. Sengkang Town Council hired directly and set up teams from scratch. We were supported by the experience of party colleagues and professionals working in town management, for which we are deeply grateful. Sengkang Town Council achieved a clean audit for all its financial reports and achieved a green banding since the start for HDB's TCMR report in 3 out of 4 categories, including cleanliness. For arrears management, SKTC was banded amber after we took over. And through the hard work of the team, brought it back into the green band for financial year 2023. Sengkang Town Council also had a consistent green banding in its governance reports between financial year 2021 to financial year 2023. A healthier Singapore is one where a strong parliament, not just a strong government, puts the well-being of Singaporeans at the heart of its policies. Not one where the few in power decide that they know best for the many. A healthier Singapore is one where we have more voices in Parliament. With more of us in Parliament, we have more time to speak up, more space to scrutinize bad policies, and more weight to push for policies that benefit more Singaporeans. We have seen this work before. Last year, WP MPs led the charge in Parliament against the sale of NTUC income in August. The PAP government heard the people loud and clear. They rushed to pass legislation a few months later to block the sale. Then the Workers' Party abstained because existing MAS powers would have allowed the same result without new legislation. And I explained this in Parliament. That is why the WP did what any responsible opposition should do. Agree with the outcome but not oppose the rushed legislation for the sake of opposing. Overreacting and passing new legislation to give the government new powers it doesn't need is bad for the rule of law. And the main takeaway from the botched Allianz deal is this: the government responds to the opposition. It responds to you. But even when the government overreacts, the opposition can be trusted to keep the wheels steady. So, when enough public pressure builds, when enough opposition MPs voice concerns, the government U-turns. We've seen it before. We've seen it with the blocking of the NTUC income deal, with CPF housing rules, with cost of living relief. So yes, your vote, your voice matters towards a healthier Singapore. We know the sun doesn't rise because of us, but we can certainly make the PAP wake up its idea. Because a healthier opposition isn't just built on policies alone. It is built off the back of its people, on our strength, on our compassion, our courage. We see so many of you doing the work to keep our nation going. You do so quietly, caring for an aging parent, helping a neighbor who struggles, mentoring a youth who has lost their way. It is why we have fought hard to measure your contributions in ways that our current measure of GDP does not. Like good health, it is easy to take the presence of a loyal, responsible opposition as a given. Yet, have we ever truly stopped to pause and think about what the health of our political system would be if we fail to elect enough opposition MPs to Parliament? 10 years ago, this nearly happened. Faced with widespread fears about a freak election making the PAP lose power, we instead nearly face a wipeout of elected opposition MPs. Mr. Lau Thea Kiang's Aljunied GRC team narrowly scraped through with less than 51% of the votes that year. If we had lost Aljunied GRC with just one or no opposition MPs elected into Parliament, do you think that the PAP will listen to you? Do you think that we can count on only our nominated MPs to uphold the health of our political system? No! Just a few days before Budget 2025, 2 NMPs stepped down because they suddenly thought that they wanted to become elected. And under the PAP banner. Perhaps someone should ask them what they believe elected MPs can do that NMPs cannot. Dear voters, I call on you today, let us not again risk losing elected opposition MPs in Parliament. Instead, vote to build a healthier Singapore, one that sees you, supports you, and works with you. 5 years ago, you made your vote count and elected the Workers' Party Sengkang GRC team into Parliament. Today, Today, we are asking that you vote once again to allow the Workers' Party to continue working for Singapore, not just in Sengkang, but in Hougang, Aljunied, Punggol, Tampines, Jalan Kayu, East Coast, and Tampines Changkat. Vote for the Workers' Party so that we can, all of us, continue to work together for our beloved country, our Singapore. Let us work to build a stronger, healthier Singapore in order to face the stormy seas together. Thank you.
We have come to the end of the Workers' Party's rally. Please look out for our next rally in the news and in our social media. At this point, we would like to advise everyone to disperse in an orderly and safe manner via the 2 exits. Please do take guidance from the police and the signages. 感谢大家的热情参与，今晚的群众大会到此结束，请大家有秩序、安全离开场地。大选期间，我们也将在其他选区举办群众大会，我们会把日期、时间和地点发到工人党的社交媒体账号，请您关注且留意。谢谢大家。Thank you. Please have a safe trip home. Take photo.